Welcome everyone to a deeply unsettling episode of Existing in America. Today we're diving into the chasm between gleaming high-rises and homelessness. Cities like San Francisco, where you can trip over a venture capitalist on your way to work, only to find yourself stepping over someone who can no longer afford to live there. This bizarre juxtaposition of wealth and despair is playing out in cities across the country. We're going to unpack this paradox and examine how economic success can coexist with staggering levels of housing instability. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's address the elephant in the penthouse suite. We're talking about the ever-widening wealth gap. The gap between the haves and the have-nots has become a chasm of absurd proportions. Nowhere is this disparity more obvious than in our urban centers. Take San Francisco, for example. The tech boom has brought immense wealth to a select few, but at what cost? The median home price in San Francisco is roughly the GDP of a small island nation. The people driving innovation are often the same ones pricing everyone else out. But this isn't just a San Francisco problem, it's a nationwide issue. New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, they're all grappling with a shrinking middle class and growing housing instability. The American dream has become more of a cruel joke, a punchline whispered in the shadows of towering skyscrapers. Communities are fighting back, demanding change and advocating for affordable housing. There are glimmers of hope, though. Grassroots movements and community initiatives are working tirelessly to bridge the gap and create sustainable solutions. The fight for equitable housing is far from over, but with collective effort and determination, we can work towards a future where everyone has a place to call home. The wealth gap is pushing people further down the economic ladder. When people can no longer afford a place to live, they enter the dystopian hellscape of the modern housing market. Landlords can name their price, and bidding wars for shoebox-sized apartments have become the norm. Short-term rentals are nightmares for anyone trying to live in the city. Zoning laws have restricted the supply of affordable housing, making it virtually impossible to build anything other than luxury condos. We've got skyrocketing rents, a dwindling supply of affordable housing, and a government more interested in preserving wealthy neighborhoods. What could possibly go wrong? Let's look at some concrete, soul-crushing numbers. Numbers that paint a stark picture of a crisis that is often overlooked or misunderstood. According to the latest data, more than 500,000 people are experiencing homelessness on any given night in America. This staggering figure includes men, women, and children from all walks of life, each with their own unique story of hardship and resilience. These individuals and families are concentrated in cities where the cost of living has reached absurd heights. In places like Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco, the gap between the wealthy and the poor is more pronounced than ever, creating a landscape where the most vulnerable are left without a safety net. But these numbers only tell part of the story. They are the visible tip of an iceberg that runs deep beneath the surface of society. They don't capture the hidden homeless, those who are not counted in official statistics, but are equally in need of help. The reality of homelessness in America is far more vast and heartbreaking than any statistic could convey. It is a complex issue that requires compassion, understanding, and a collective effort to address. We must look beyond the numbers and see the human beings they represent, each deserving of dignity and a chance for a better life. Let's talk about gentrification. It starts with promises of revitalization and ends with the displacement of longtime residents. A neighborhood falls into disrepair, rents plummet, and artists move in, attracted by the low cost of living. Property values rise, developers take notice, and the very people who made the neighborhood desirable are priced out. It's like inviting someone to stay at your house, only to have them kick you out and list your room on Airbnb. Gentrification can decimate entire communities, uprooting families and shuttering local businesses. Cities need to evolve, but there's a difference between revitalization and displacement. The key is to create inclusive communities where everyone benefits from economic growth, not just the privileged few. Let's zoom in on the tech industry, a major contributor to the housing crisis. Silicon Valley, where a good idea can make you a millionaire overnight, isn't the reality for everyone. The tech industry relies heavily on a vast, often invisible workforce, the service industry. Baristas, Uber drivers, and janitors keep the wheels of the tech industry turning, yet they're the ones struggling to afford basic necessities. It's like a giant game of Jenga, with the tech industry precariously balanced on the backs of low-wage workers. As the tech industry booms, the pressure on that foundation grows. How long can this unsustainable system last? The disparity between the tech elite and the service workers is stark. While tech employees enjoy the fruits of innovation, service workers face a daily struggle. The question remains, can Silicon Valley find a way to balance its success with the well-being of all its residents? Where are the safety nets? Our social safety net looks more like a tattered piece of cheesecloth. Funding for essential programs like affordable housing and mental health services has been slashed. We have the audacity to blame the victims, telling them they're lazy or made bad choices. When you're struggling to survive, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps isn't viable. We need to stop treating poverty and homelessness like personal failings. We need to invest in affordable housing, expand access to healthcare, and create opportunities for economic advancement. We need to stop demonizing those who are struggling and start offering them a helping hand. Any one of us could find ourselves in a similar situation. It's time to build a society where everyone has a chance to thrive. Let's create a future where no one is left behind. Building a better future. Brick by brick, policy by policy. Our cities are growing, and with that growth comes the responsibility to ensure that everyone has a place to call home. As dire as the situation may seem, it's not hopeless. Every person living on the streets has a story, a past, and a potential future. Homelessness is often a result of systemic failures. We can fix this. Through community efforts, policy changes, and dedicated resources, we can create a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. We need to address the root causes of homelessness, poverty, lack of affordable housing, and economic disparities. Families should not have to choose between paying rent and putting food on the table. Mental health and addiction issues often go untreated, exacerbating the cycle of homelessness. Comprehensive healthcare is a fundamental right. We need to invest in job training, affordable housing, and community support systems. By providing people with the skills they need to succeed, we can help them secure stable employment and housing. This isn't about charity, it's about justice. Everyone deserves a safe place to live, and it's our collective responsibility to make that a reality. Let's lay the foundation for a brighter future, one brick and one policy at a time. A call to action: rebuilding the American dream. Thank you for joining us on this journey through America's housing crisis. It's not a pretty picture, but it's not a lost cause. We can build a better future where everyone has a roof over their heads and a chance to succeed. If you found this video informative, share it and talk about it. The first step to solving any problem is acknowledging that it exists. Let's raise our voices and demand better. Imagine a country where everyone has a place to call home. Together we can make this vision a reality. Advocate for policies that support affordable housing. Remember, change starts with us. Let's rebuild the American dream, one step at a time.